Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 14th of August 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so also just a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. Also our JFD Bank website here, but specifically our research page, which you can check out for different various analysis. So yeah, feel free to have a look and I believe you can find something useful. But for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the Nasdaq100. Now, yesterday, of course, as you all know, we did get some positive remarks from the trade negotiations between the US and China, and of course US agreed to postpone, to delay their tariffs on certain Chinese goods up until around mid-December. Those goods are mainly electronic goods and some other small ones, like toys, for example. Of course, that's understandable. We are going into the holiday season right now, or we are going to be going into the holiday season, like Christmas and New Year. So that's understandable why these products got excluded. So for now, like I said, looking at this, you saw the nice good spike here to the upside in all the indices when the markets opened, and it traveled higher. But the only thing is here is that yes, overall it is in the Nasdaq 100 here is kind of moving to the upside. It is trading within this nice rising wedge formation, but if we look at the cash index right now, we can see that the index is back around the 7,600 level. Now, I talked about this level, this area in my previous videos. I talked about it this week as well. So basically the index is back around the 7,600 zone. We'll keep a close eye around here, because if this slides further below the 7,600 level and let's say drops below the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart, well, we could retrace everything what was gained yesterday, and we could see a further slide to the downside here, where initially we will target this lower side of the rising wedge formation, or in other words, this upside support line here taken from the low of December 2018. Now, for now, again, of course, we are going to keep an eye on this level here, the 7,600. Let's see how this is going to play out. If we get a break further below the 7,600, then keep your eyes on the 200 EMA. But if that fails to withhold, now this is where it could turn out to be ugly for the index in the short run. I'm not saying that it could turn out to be ugly overall, but in the short run, we could see this one sliding further down here towards the 7,500, or even below that, like I said, towards this lower side of the rising wedge formation. In terms of the upside, again, we're going to be very careful. As you can see previously, I had this level here as our potential breakout point, the 7,725 zone, approximately around there. Of course, this level still remains as a more important one, but from the shorter term perspective, if we see the index remaining above the 7,600 zone, we could see maybe a bit of a rebound here, maybe push back a little bit higher, maybe to test the 7,645 zone, and then we'll take it from there, see what he wants to do. If he wants to break above it, then, well, I mean, we're going to be very careful here still with the upside, because like I said, for us to get slightly more comfortable with higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above the 7,725 zone, approximately around there, guys. So keep your eyes on this one. For now, looking at the cash index and where it is trading right now, it's currently slightly below the 7,600 level. So basically it's just hanging around here, around this level. So keep your eyes on this. It's going to be quite interesting to see where the day is going to close today. So let's see. Let's wait and see. Gold is taking a nice boost, and this is what I talked about this morning, basically in my Traders Espresso. I was saying to keep an eye on the 1510 level, because if we get a nice push above this in a way could increase the chances for further move higher towards these yesterday's highs near the. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. And that was near the 1535 level, so good potential target here. But again, like I said, for now we're going to be very careful here. Of course, it did make a move higher. Of course, it just increases the chances for a further push higher. But like I said, if this suddenly, let's say, starts reversing back below the 1510, well, be very careful, because this area for us is going to be somewhat of a neutral one for now. Because in order to consider, let's say, slightly lower areas here, ideally we would like to see a drop not only below the psychological 1500 level, but in addition to that, a drop below the 1490 could in a way start opening the path towards slightly lower areas. But again, for now, it is looking more bullish than bearish. Let's see if it can stay above the 1510. I doubt that it could reach let's say the 1535 level today. If it stays above the 1510, then there is a possibility we could see a further push higher tomorrow, maybe, or even on Friday. So again, like I said, be very careful here. Keep your eyes on some of these levels that I've just mentioned, and let's see how this is going to play out. Now then, jumping into a few pairs very quickly. So one of the interesting ones I wanted to quickly show you, and that's AUDCHF. Now, overall, of course, it's still sliding lower. Even from the shorter term perspective, it's still kind of sliding lower here, trading below a downside resistance line taken from the high of the around the mid-July here. And but even from even more shorter term perspective, as you can see here, the pair is stuck in this nice little range here, roughly between the 0.6529 zone here, and on the downside, and on the upside the 0.6660 level on the upside. So until it's kind of trading here between these two levels, we're just going to keep on watching this one. We're just going to keep an eye on it. We're not going to do anything, but you can see that the today the pair is sliding back down. Basically, all the safe haven currencies and in general safe haven assets are in demand today again. So this is what I talked about this morning, basically about the trade, those tariffs that got delayed, because yes, it is, on one hand it is a good sign, but on the other hand we are still in a trade war, in a trade dispute. So it's still an ongoing issue. So that's why probably the market is not really buying this one, and investors are jumping back into something more safer, let's put it that way. The only thing is that here, like I said, we need to see a break below the 0.6529 before actually examining further declines. We will then aim for the 0.650504 zone, which is marked by the low of the 7th of August. But in general, of course, if that fails to withhold, then of course this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could aim for much lower areas. But what's more interesting here is actually, if I'm going to jump even into a monthly chart, and this is the picture that you're going to see. Basically, well, the only data here that we've got is running up until December 1991, and you can see that how low this has traveled now. I mean, we do have this spike here that we saw in 2015 here, the spike lower. This is when the the Swiss central bank kind of untied its currency against the euro, and we saw all the other pairs kind of selling off sharply here. So again, for now, guys, the pair is currently balancing around near the low of August 2015. So it's quite interesting to see if it actually going to hold. If it holds, we could see a nice rebound and a push back to the upside a little bit at least. But if it fails, then yep, further declines are possible, and we can only just try to guess and try to find a potential good level for a good support. Maybe we'll aim for the 0.6450 or even the 0.64 level. But again, for now, until we're stuck here, we're not touching this one, we're not doing anything with it, we're just going to observe the price action. Euro Aussie, this leads us into this interesting pair as well. So basically, of course, you can see that the Euro Aussie is having a nice run today, and is trying to make its way higher, trying to recover all the losses made yesterday. So the only thing is that, of course, technically speaking, you can see that yes, it is trading above this upside support line taken from the low of the 25th of July. It had a nice rebound here yesterday and is now pushing towards the upside. On the other hand, it's also stuck here within this little rising, falling channel. Again, we're not going to focus too much maybe on this downside channel. Just going to keep it on the chart for now, see how it performs around here. If it holds, we could see this one correcting back down again. So in other words, until it's trading around here, around this area, we are going to remain somewhat neutral, because for us to get excited at least with some further directional moves, at least in the short run, ideally we would like to see not only a break of this this falling channel, but also a push above the 1.6620 level. This way the pair could open the path for itself towards slightly higher levels, maybe the 1.6690 or even the 1.6787 zone. So for now, keep your eyes on this one, keep your eyes on this on these formations, on these lines. In terms of the downside, if this upside line breaks, then of course, then yep, there is a chance for a further slide lower. The only thing is to get slightly more comfortable with the downside. Ideally, we would like to see a drop below this key area of support near the 1.6416, approximately around there. If we get a drop below this, in a way, we could potentially consider a further decline here, aiming for maybe the level around the 1.6315 or around this 200 EMA, which probably would approach that area here if, let's say, by the time this decides to travel to the downside, if it decides to travel to the downside. So again, like I said, if we get a drop below the 1.6415 zone, we will aim for the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. Euro dollar, very quickly on this one, continues to range. I talked about this one for quite a while now, and I actually started talking about this one last week when it just started ranging, and as you can see, it continues to range. So basically, looking at this picture here, you can see, well, I talked about this one this morning, and this morning we're hanging around here near the 1.1163, maybe just slightly above it, but I was saying that we need to see a clear break below this before examining further declines. And by further declines, I mean the 1.11 zone. If we see a drop below the 1.1163, then yep, we will aim for the 1.11, and then we'll take it from there, see what he wants to do after. But for now, we're going to remain neutral. We're just going to continue observing the price action here, because for us to get comfortable with higher levels, ideally we would like to see a push above the 1.1250 before aiming higher again. So I know it's a bit of a big move here, but to be honest, we'd rather be safe than sorry. So keep your eyes on these two levels. And the last pair I want to quickly touch on, and that's GBPNZD. Now, I talked about this one. Yesterday in my Traders Tea Time as well. So basically, we were yesterday in my Traders Tea Time, and it was trading around here still, and I was talking about a continuation here to the upside, but then the whole tariff news came out, this pair started quickly selling off and dropped lower. But what I was also mentioning, that even if we see a drop lower, for us, we'll keep a close eye on these two tentative upside lines. Now, I do understand it's a bit of a tricky one, because in a way you have to choose one, but to be honest, for now you can see that both of them are tentative, even though actually this first one, this closer one, actually played out nicely. As you can see, it held the rate from moving lower. It then even allowed a 4-hour candle to close below it. So from here you can see that the pair rebounded nicely back to the upside today, and it continues to push higher. Now, that said, in order to, let's say, to get comfortable with higher levels, well, again, it's very tricky here, because in a way it could travel a little bit higher, maybe get rejected near the 1.8873 and then reverse back to the downside. So that's why we're just gonna probably wait this one out. We're gonna wait for a push above the 1.8873 and then aim for slightly higher levels. For now, again, like I said, this could continue kind of moving sideways here in the upwards direction. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but still, kind of, it could move back and forth here, but with a nice kind of in a nice uptrend. So for now, be very careful with this one. If this starts dropping lower, now in terms of the downside here, now what we're going to do here is we're going to shift our potential breakout point here a little bit lower near the 1.8632. Now, this level, as you can see, acted as a good area of support. So in a way, if we see this one, this pair sliding back down, breaking this upside line, the last resort here for the bulls could be this other upside line, other tentative upside line. But if that fails to withhold and we see a rate fall below the 1.8632, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the bears. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Okay, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Traders Espressos, as always, that's 6 o'clock GMT. For now, I hope you have a beautiful evening, guys, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.